Muted.
Yeah, I thought you had somebody.
No, it's something like what? He's in the back.
Because it'll, between the two, the speaker will come back off the two programs and then it'll give you double
So
feedback.
muted like that?
Yep. Go back to Zoom. Alright. And as people sign in, you know how to list them up and keep that as the main board.
Okay, so,
Full screen yours.
where do you go? Where do you go?
You won't do it. You're the one here.
That's good. Our spreadsheets have it.
Until somebody else signs in.
Or Shelley, if you could put a couple flyers on.
Yeah.
Make sure. No, you don't want to allow them to remove themselves away from you. Raise their hand. I don't know if you've ever been on one.
And one other thing too is what they do is
Chats.
they take us.
I don't even know if anybody knows about this meeting, so.
Okay.
We'll see what happens if people come in and you set your board up, go in here to review and think you set that up as you mean.
Okay.
Alright?
So it's streaming?
Yeah.
And Zoom is on.
Yep. That is. It is.
So do you want to record the Zoom as well?
It's already done, it's saving it on the AI. So I wouldn't do anything else extra because you're going to start questioning the system. Pray that we don't get more than 10 people in your phones.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he said to shut that off.
She's here.
They will be on Zoom. I know you want me to. Where's that feedback?
Oh, you said you wanted it back, right? I do. Thank you.
Who's got a red light? Oh, it's you. Yeah, that's you.
This is a little hard to
Which ones did you turn down?
What's that?
Which ones did you turn down?
Turn down C.
I had a sweatshirt.
Back up.
I was just curious.
Oh, your mic's out. Okay.
I just freaking. Oh, what do you think?
I think I got everything. I see what he did.
He was zipping through that faster than I could keep up with him.
I'll just take a picture of the setup.
Yeah.
So we're using the same camera and then we're using connecting.
That's.
He got that YouTube thing and said where it was live and he kept flipping
Check 1, 2.
We live now. Participating.
No, there's nobody there.
I saw.
Say anything odd.
I'll just let it run. Afterwards, I'll play with it. Do a couple of tests.
I think he said that at the end, you can just end it and close it and done.
That's a yes.
Because before we had to worry about signing out and that, and it would always default to.
And then the day of the next town board meeting, he'll come early and play with it nice and maybe because he ran through things off.
That board meeting is the 12th
Oh, it's Wednesday.
of November.
Next Tuesday. Oh, it's a Wednesday this time?
Because the 11th is Wednesday and we're closed.
Okay.
So this month is Wednesday.
Why need to fly?
Pretty sure I saw it.
Yeah, I need to. Eleven is
Yeah.
oh, here. That's what I walk in and out like every time and then she would go out. So she was like, just looked at her, you know, this time she was playing and he had hair, the hair in his hand, and he marched and wheeled on his glove, and he was whacking it around. He rolled, he was rolling, he rolled and hit her against he was banging. I wish I got it. Me and my sister were dying. Girls like, he was smacking her. It was just so funny. Still up. Yeah, and my clothes were and she went down there and lay down, and then because when I first went down, there's allergies gooing everywhere in front, and then I think it stopped and she walked back there and lay down. She was there, lying back there. Yeah. I was like, so then right home, I put her back there. I was like, okay, now I know you. That works for you. That works for me.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm like 5. Dry. And I can get my, once I get my nail on, Cheese, ham, sweets.
Wow.
And then it was together. You never know what you get. So I checked off one piece.
It's just building. They were supposed to come and fix the heat either Friday or today. It's been
I'm
in
not
the
all tied up, we can't afford it.
We'll wait till next year.
All right, girls, let's add it to the budget. We need money to fix
Heat?
it.
I've been hot all day. Yeah, I was hot in there. I had like sweatshirt off.
It's either one way or the other.
Yeah, it's either too hot or too cold.
I'll open my office, it'll be like,
Our side is usually hot.
yeah.
It was, I was hot. It wasn't hot in there, but I was hot.
Somebody take it and see what they told me. I can really understand everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are trying to say. I would, I would do that. Well, yeah, I mean, I was just because.
Bring one of those speakers in
Okay,
Yeah, he's.
thank you for coming, everybody. This time, this is our 2026 preliminary budget public hearing. If anyone from the town board has any motion to open the meeting?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, please stand and do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I would like to have a moment of silence for David May. Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. Tonight is our 2026 preliminary budget public hearing. Town board has had 4 budget workshops, and a lot of work has gone into the preliminary budget that you have in front of you. Tonight is an opportunity we've had ample time to review the budget. Tonight's an opportunity to voice your concerns about the budget, and essentially, if the town board deems that there is merit to a lot of these concerns, then we have the opportunity to make adjustments to our budget. At this time, I will entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, anyone like?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Carried. The public hearing is now officially open. Generally, what we do is we allow the people that are physically here to be heard, and then next we move to our Zoom participants. Would anyone like to be heard today? Amanda?
Hi, could you explain how we got to the, figure for my salary for assessor's clerk?
The town board went into executive session and we discussed in detail all of the salaries, and that is the number that the town board deemed to be appropriate. Anyone else like to be heard on the budget public hearing? Mr. Duncan?
I'm looking at the budget, I think we're up looking at the budget. We don't
Okay,
see,
Chad, I'm so sorry, I can't hear you at all.
we're looking at the budget, and we don't see where money is budgeted for highway department for next year. How is that allocated to the highway garage or bills?
That number is not in the budget, it's going to be dealt with as a capital project. We'll set up a capital account and it gets paid for out of general funds.
Okay, so that's something to do with the budget itself,
That is correct.
How?
My bookkeeper called the state comptroller, and that's how we were advised to handle a big capital project. Meaning it's just not part of the yearly budget operations. It's more, we set up the town board knows approximately what that building would cost, and we set up a capital account, we fund the capital account, and we've already approved to send it out to bid. I think that's just the way it is.
So how much was approved in the capital account?
I mean, I think we're still waiting we're determining scope of project right now. And once the scope of project comes out, then it goes out to bid, and those bids determine what it would be in total.
Okay. I've been working with the engineers for the core building stuff, so we should have our plans by December, before the December's meeting. The drawing should be put out prior to, or just after Thanksgiving. Hopefully we got a plan. And we won't know what the bidding process is, it's not estimate, but we won't know what the bidding is, so after the first of the year. That's when we'll set up the capital account.
Once we have the number, we'll set up the capital account, and it gets, dispersed, as it's deemed, appropriate.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I will just, note, the town board, I think, wants to, I'll call on you next, Matt. I will just note that, we try to be a little informal, but, the budget public hearing is more for the public to deem or to express their concerns on budgetary items. And it's, I think there's a time for questions, I think, but, for the most part, we're here to hear your concerns, and if the town board thinks changes need to be made to the budget, then we make those changes based on the town's input. But it's not necessarily a Q&A. I mean, none of the budget public hearings that like for instance, the county budget public hearing hasn't happened yet. And if you were to tune into that budget public hearing, you just listen to the participants, and then we close the public hearing. And if people have questions, they can always send them into my office, and we address them promptly. But that being said, there's a little give there. We want to just be friendly and have a good atmosphere. But I'm just trying to bring a little bit of thought process to how these public hearings generally happen and what the standard protocol is. But there's a little bit of give there. Okay? Matt, I saw your hand, I'm sorry.
So you eliminated the emergency disaster relief fund that we had, and we were told that you didn't want to you took that out because it made an improper budget. Or improper budget as far as the expenditures go. And here, you're doing the same thing by taking out of a capital line, or going to exist in capital line, but the building is not in the budget. You can't have it both ways.
Okay.
Because it makes it an impartial budget, an unrealistic budget.
Mr. Fiala?
Sticking on the same topic, you said that you went out to bid, you had an estimated amount of money that you could set aside for capital. They're not even done doing their core testing and so on and so forth, so you really don't have a budget line created for that building. You don't know if it's going to cost you 1.2 or 1.5. What is the actual number that you're setting aside for the highway department for its upgrades? How do you come up with that number?
It was, Nick Vandell gave us a broad estimate here at the highway presentation that he gave for everybody.
So this starts one area from $800,000 to 1.5 million. Or so you have that number set aside, so I'm assuming that you have 1.5 million set aside next year, when this all goes through. Yeah, that's what we're gonna have for our working budget, so 1.5 million.
The town of Hague has more than enough set aside for that expenditure, yes.
Enough numbers when Chad got them, they were somewhere like 1.2 whatever, or somewhere in there, and you said that was fine. When Chad gave us his initial estimates, when he went out and found the contract or whatever, and then you went through the engineers and you got a number too, and I thought that was like 1.25, 1.4, somewhere in there, and he said it was fine. So
Yeah, that's just the broad scope of what Nick Vandell considered came back to the town with. And we expect it's gonna come back around that, and we don't really know the exact number yet, because they're gonna be generating a scope of service, and then whoever's gonna bid on it, will bid on it.
and we voted and we approved it to move forward.
And it is.
You're saying money is in there when the whole thing gets started, it's not like you don't have to look for money.
When we have I'm sorry to interrupt you, go ahead.
No, that's all, I just wanted to be sure, I assuming that was how it came down, that the money would be in there. You know, that's say 1.25 or up to 1.4, that's why we're moving forward with it as a capital project, right?
Haven't created the capital account yet, we don't have the exact number.
One more question,
Sure.
So you said that's one set aside, and so that's what you plan to do. How's this gonna reflect with the amount of money that you've invested already, tax and penalty wise? Is that gonna fall back on us because under the assumption that we have all these funds put in CDs in over a 10-year period? So, as opposed to making hundreds of thousands of dollars for the year. I'm curious to how much this investment that was done prior to this all being done, and where is that, how is that capital gonna affect if we tax the road, say, look, we got 1.7? Just because the price is the way they're fluctuating with that. Is that gonna hurt the town? Would that be a burden on the town for being penalized for taking that money out too soon?
The town of Hague has ample funds. Just to give you a broad scope, we have 3 $700,000 CDs with TD Bank North. That's they're 3-year CDs, 3 at 700,000, 2.1 in total. I did it that way, and we won't ever need to, but if we had to break one, we're breaking 1 at 700, and we take the penalties on 1. That's never gonna happen. So then we also have a $1 million with Arrow Bank. That's a 9-month CD. So that's a total of 3.1 in CDs. That's sort of tied up, okay? We also, in addition, we have 2 MMDA accounts, money market accounts with Arrow Bank. One is general fund at 1.8 million. The other is a highway account, and that is 1 million. Those accounts are fluid, so they can be pulled at random. The only risk with the MMDA accounts is if they somehow the bank stop offering interest, well, then we just keep the interest that we've accumulated thus far. So, just between those, the CDs and those MMDA accounts, it's like 5.9 million. And then in addition to that, I don't know off the top of my head, but our main bank that we use, the reason that we keep that 2.8 in MMDA accounts with Arrow is they are slightly higher than Community Bank in their interest rates, slightly, 0.25%, something like that. But it just makes sense to get the maximum value for the town of Hague, so that's why we do it that way. I should say I do it that way. And in accumulation of all of our accounts with Community Bank, and I'm just talking about, occupancy tax money, general fund money, highway money, it's probably around, I don't have it, we just got a $650,000 sales tax check in today, but it's probably in the ballpark of 2 million in Community Bank. So there's a lot of, we don't have cash flow problems here in the town. We've been unbelievable financial stewards for generations, and we're in really good shape. It's just our infrastructure projects that happen. For instance, the highway infrastructure project. These are big ticket items. So you get a couple of these. For instance, if we ever wanted to do a major project to this building, as a lot of people float around, it doesn't take much to set us back, and be 4 million in, or whatever it is, if there was a big project that happened. But meaning 1.5 for this new highway building, and then all of a sudden there's a big vault getting put on the back over there, and maybe that somebody one day wants to do an addition over here for a library or a museum. That's why we just have to be very cautious with our money. Because, there's, in New York State, there's 933 towns. There are 30 towns out of those 933 that do not have a town tax. We happen to be one of them. It's an unbelievable blessing. And I'm not even talking about the villages, I mean, this is just towns in New York State. So I don't know if that answers your question, but, Mr. Duncan.
So you're saying we have how much, 2 million something, and yeah. Like that.
I'm not sure I understand, I'm understanding your question, Chef.
How much money is not in CDs right
Probably somewhere between 4.5 and 5 million.
now? It's not in CDs. Okay. We have it's the 1 million that highway has, that's in our MMBA, is our startup fee for next year, after the first of the year, right?
Startup what?
It's our startup budget. We'll be borrowing about 500,000 of that to start up in the year, before we get sales tax in the following year.
I don't have any highway money in the, in a CD right currently. That's my, to memory.
So the last one matured out.
Yeah, I was keeping you coordinated on those, decisions, yes.
I never did the other one matured out yet. I never heard about it.
Yeah, so the answer to your question is no, I don't think we have any highway funds. I don't have the paperwork in front of me in, CDs at this time. Anyone else would like to be heard on the budget? Sir, could you please state your name and where you're from?
Yeah, my name is Chris Lang from the Road. I'm also on the executive committee of the Conservative Party. And what we're going to be doing, this is what our goal is, to be looking at challenges and budgets. Now, I'm a member of this community, I love it. Why? It's beautiful, especially in the off season. But there are only 627 people according to the census. And over 55% of them are over 60 years old. So why does the town have over 5 million in reserves? That's 160%. Whereas other towns, it's 25%. Warrensburg, it's 10%. My concern is not, I'm not criticizing it, but just by the natural fact that we all these rich people who live along not the ocean, not the lake, but there are other people in town who live up in the hills who don't have that money. What we should be doing is asking for a tax break from the county to actually lower people's taxes. It's great that you have all these CDs, but I'm not hiring you to be my financial advisor. That's our money. Give it back to us. By increasing the amount that the county reduces our taxes. We're blessed. My thinking is if you give politicians all this money, you're going to find ways to spend it. So I'd rather I decide how to spend it. Thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard on the, Mr. Buck?
So I think we already do, since we're not answering yet, I think we already do the about $300,000 for the county to offset our taxes. Which should be more, I agree with that. I mean, my taxes went up this year, my school taxes went up, and fortunately I got a nice raise where I can afford it. But some of these other people that live in town might not be able to afford it. So why aren't you taking your surplus money and giving it back to the county so they won't tax us as much as the county have? Since you got over $5 million.
I guess my question would be, what is an appropriate percentage to hold in reserve? Well, most of the rest of the county goes around 25%, 3 years operating expenses. Wow.
So, I think it's just, I mean, just so you know, the money that I just spoke about, No, that's all like our operating expenses also, meaning what we, it's hard to keep track of exactly, you know what I mean? What our operating expenses are.
Josh, I paid enough.
Can I, Mr. Lang, I didn't interrupt you.
Yes.
Thank you. When, I agree that there's a large reserve there, but, we have a lot of operating expenses and everything's gonna fluctuate year to year, depending on what time of year. We just, like for instance, this $1.5 million for the highway, potentially, we don't have a number yet. And then, Edna and I just sat down and we're talking about some more moderate upgrades to the visitor center. Maybe, we don't have that number yet. We're supposed to get some estimates on those options. But, that could potentially come back at, $1 million. And then all of a sudden, we're talking about 2.5 million of the money that you're talking about, the 5, being just wiped right off the table. And it's important to realize, our county tax is around $3, give or take, per 1,000 assessed. And we are the 3rd lowest county for county tax in the state of New York. So, excuse me?
Why is that?
Because the county is a good steward of keeping our tax low, Warren County. So I'm just drawing the picture while, the $3 per thousand assessed that we're gonna see that bill in January is a large amount. It still is, we're doing really good. I mean, if you compare us to other towns that, they have a highway tax, they've got a town tax, they've got a county tax, they've got the school taxes that we pay. I mean, we actually are, doing well in the town of Hague. And I'll add that, I'll call on you in just a second. While Bolton Landing, or excuse me, not Bolton, while we leave 300 at the county, we don't have to do it. That's not something that I implemented. That's something that my predecessors implemented to lower the tax rate on taxpayers. We theoretically could take that, but we've never needed it, and now we're gaining extra revenue. The times are good right now because of the interest rates. That might not always be the case. We could be going into a time where banks stop offering interest, and our money isn't really, making money per se. But anyway, I'll call on you, Mr. Lang. Thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of the point, being that, we're blessed. All those super wealthy people with all those camps on that lake. The vacancy rate in the town, according to US Census, is 64%. Where those people are paying? It's not that brain surgery is going on that we're in this financial situation. It's just the way it is. And all honesty, it's that people that live here, the voters in this town, you're the beneficiaries. You're making all this money by the CDs. Okay, where's my check? You're not getting my check. So what difference is it? That we're the best, we're amongst the lowest in the state. So what? What's the benefit? We're flush with money. More, by far more than the town. Other people who need the money. It's not necessarily me. I know there's a lot of people who do. Let's like them. Get a couple $100. Maybe nowadays, a couple $100 helps. It's hard enough. So, we can get done with that. Let it be all about it. That's it. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mr. Lang. We are in a budget public hearing. Kim, did I say your name?
I did, but I'll wait for you to finish speaking.
If you would like the floor, we're in the budget public hearing and you're welcome to have it.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the town board for the budget that was approved for my department for next year. With that also being said, I would just ask that you look at my deputy budgets for my tax collector and the town clerk deputy. I just want to state that the numbers that I had requested are facts in the budget. However, the salary, hourly amounts don't reflect what the salary is. So I'm just wondering if my deputy's salary is going to be based through my budget, because the budget that I asked for was approved for my deputies. Am I asking that correctly? I know we don't want to get into salaries, but I'm just asking that the town board maybe just take a minute and look at it.
The town board went through and decided every hourly rate for employees at home. We went through and made the calculation adjustment. And I think to Amanda's question, her very first question, that maybe Amanda doesn't know what the town board decided for her hourly rate yet. I made a decision not to tell employees what the town board decided because I didn't know if there was gonna be 75 people that showed up here and wanted us to lower the salaries, so I didn't know if they would hold, but I think we gave everyone pretty, what I would describe as healthy increases. So, I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it doesn't, because I basically wanted to know if the salaries that were approved by the town board do not reflect the salaries that I requested for my 3 deputies, but my budget reflects what I asked for. Thank you.
I can tell you by memory what Amanda was,
We don't need to
I'm
discuss
not
it.
gonna say, but I'll just, Amanda, this is what.
We did go through them all. That's not that we don't.
You know that.
Okay, I was just curious about that. But anyways, thank you, town board, for the approval of my tax collector and town clerk budgets. I do appreciate it.
Ginger.
I just in general wanted to say that I think that the town staff is working really, really well, and I'm very happy with the services that we get. And so, and I know it's not easy in Hay to find employees because we just don't have a lot of people that live here, they're looking for jobs. So I just, in general, I'm not commenting on this particular budget, but in general, for the budget's public future, I think taking close look at salaries and making sure they're competitive in our recruiting.
Well, I'll answer for that, Josh. I think we spent a great deal of time making sure that we were fair. If Josh would say, this person does such and such and such, I would suggest this. So we did spend a lot of time with salaries. And we tried to be fair to everybody, but we didn't want to do something for one that all of a sudden they were way out there in front of so many people. And they would have 3 times as much work to do. But I do feel that we took a good hard look at salaries and did try to be fair. And when I look around the area and other towns, I think ours will be out quite well.
Okay, that's good to know. And it was not criticism at all, it was just I'm saying that competitive salaries are something. But thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Ken, did you have anyone on Zoom that wanted to speak?
There's nobody asking any questions. I'll check the chat and see if anybody has any questions.
Would anyone else like to speak at the budget public hearing?
I think the town board didn't get enough. They're doing a lot of the work, and compared to the percentage that were passed out, I feel that the town board members didn't get enough more compared to everybody else.
Thank you, we're not complaining. We're happy with what we got, at least I am. In favor.
more.
If they force it on us, okay. No, we voted on it, we're pleased with the way they took it in. Ed is absolutely right, we made a very serious comparison with competitive rates so that we can retain our valuable employees.
Hey Matt, I'll tell you something, when I decided to run for this position, I didn't even know it was a paid position. I just ran because I was trying to help the community. So it's just a perk.
So put Jack wants more and you don't want anything.
Anyone else who'd like to speak at our budget public hearing tonight?
No questions.
Anyone from the town board entertain a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone from the town board have any comments for the audience and online, anything that occurred tonight?
I would agree with Edna, we spent a lot of time trying to make sure everything was fair and as balanced as we could get, and we have room to move forward in the future, but, I agree with Edna.
Anyone else from the town board?
Could I have one more question or one more statement to make? The way the public hearing, or the way the budget hearings were presented this year, where the members of the audience were given the opportunity to voice our opinions at the time that it was being done, was very nice. I appreciate that, because normally I'm going through the budget, all my questions that I've had built up from all the budget workshops, I was throwing questions out one after another. I wasn't able to get my voice opinion, so I really appreciate the way the budget was handled this year. By us allowing us our voice at the meetings.
Anyone else from the board? Okay. I'll just have one comment, more based or directed towards Mr. Lang's comments, and that's that. My primary directive, as long as I'm the chief fiscal officer for the town, is, in terms of being the chief fiscal officer, is just to make sure we never have a town tax. And, with healthcare, like just this year, it went up 18%. I can't remember what it was last year. There's a lot of uncertainty in the times, and I do agree with you that it's a lot of money that we have in the bank. I wouldn't debate that with you. But I think that if we somehow one day end up, needing a little nest egg for something that happens or this, that, and then somehow we come up short, let's just say we put $1 million into the, left $1 million at the county, lowering our Warren County tax bill. Well, we could do that, and it would benefit taxpayers. But, if we ever had to go down that rabbit hole of the town tax, we'd probably never go back. And I think that's something to think about, just the future of hay. So, I guess I'm just very cautious in that way of just always holding tight to the big goal of never having the town tax. That's just where my head is at. Maybe I'm a little bit too conservative. You like that pun? Anyone else on the board this time? So we have a decision board. We can wait to pass the budget at our budget public hearing, at our next town board meeting, or we can decide to pass the budget here tonight. And that is solely at the pleasure of the town board.
No time like the present.
Okay. Would anyone from the town board entertain a motion to adopt the general highway? You know what, before we do that, I wanted to bring up one important point that I didn't. I realized this after all the budgets that were printed over there have one, the dollar amount is the same, but you'll notice for the fire district, I think it says like 90,000 out of our revenue, and trying to think, let me just find. It says 90,000 and 316 to be raised by tax. The amount that will actually be raised by tax is $310,805. And that adjustment is being made with what the town board decided to only raise it 2%, the fire tax. So essentially, we're just taking a little bit more out of our sales tax revenue, about almost $6,000, and a little less being taxed on the public. We need to be at that 2% cap for increasing on our fire tax. I just wanted to point out that the budgets printed were inaccurate, and that change is made so that we're under the 2% cap. But, at this time, I will go back to would anyone from the town board entertain a resolution to adopt the general highway special districts 2026 town budget?
So moved.
Okay? Anyone want to second it? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carried. Anything else from the board this time?
No, just that we worked really hard on this budget.
Absolutely.
We all agree.
I will echo Maureen's sentiments that there was a lot of hard work on that. At this time, would anyone entertain a motion to close the meeting? Okay. All those in favor of closing the meeting? Aye. Carried.